what I'm talking about. Day. Welcome back to ReneMarie Stroke of Luck. I'm ReneMarie, and we're going to take it easy this hour because the last show was a little crazy. But this is really, I love the way God works because he had us touch all the spectrums of life today. In the first half an hour show that we just did, we touched on seniors over 65, which I don't consider old because, like I said before, I'm 57. So I'm almost there, and I'm really happy and honored to be able to age with grace, and to be able to age because, as most of you know, I suffered a major stroke over 30 years ago, so I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk. And to be able to sit here and to share life, especially at this moment in time, is really a gift, a gift. So, but now we have a wonderful guest on our show, and I'm going to let Judy introduce him because Judy is on the line, because Judy is the reason we have him as a guest. His name is Rob, and he is the executive, what's your title? Let me see.
Hi, Rob.
Chief Executive Officer of Gift of Life.
He's the Chief
and Rob was scheduled to be on our show.
Gift of Life International.
Judy, hang on, I'm almost done.
Okay.
Rob was scheduled to be on our show on March 1st, I believe it was, and we have some technical difficulties in the studio, so he's gracious enough to come back today. And when it deals with children, it really touches the heart. And I can't wait to talk to him and to hear his story, because this is the first time that I've had the honor of meeting Rob. So Judy, take it away, and I'm going to let you introduce Rob formally.
Hi, Rob. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Rob is the CEO of Gift of Life International. And Rob started at the Manhasset Rotary Club with this project, and it became an international project that every Rotary Club worldwide is involved in. And I met Rob in 2008 when we introduced the first Rotary, the first Gift of Life child, Grace, and also Jonathan.
Judy, could you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Judy? Okay. Just because, speak a little slower, only because you're breaking up, and I want everybody to be able to honestly hear about Rob. And then we're going to talk to Rob. But you were breaking up a little bit.
You want me to start over? Rob Raylman is the CEO of Gift of Life International. And our first Gift of Life child was Grace. And he brought her over from Uganda to have a heart operation here in the United States. And this project started in the Manhasset Rotary Club, I believe. So Rob is a member. And this grew into an international project. We also had Jonathan, whose operation was a number of years after Grace's, and I got to meet both of them along with Rob.
Good. So let's just introduce Rob. Everybody can see Rob on the screen. Hi, Rob. How are you today?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm really happy to meet you. When it comes to children and when people are traveling the world, tell us a little bit your history, though, before we get into how you got into the Gift of Life. What was your profession before all this aspired?
So they kind of relate to one another. And when I started with Gift of Life was in 2008, but I had met Robbie Dono, who was the founder of Gift of Life. I met him in 1987 in the solid waste business. I worked for an international solid waste company called Browning Ferris Industries. He worked for a mom and pop solid waste company on Long Island. And when we came to New York, he was our subcontractor. So I got to know Robbie very well. And he was the Rotarian who raised his hand at a Manhasset Rotary Club in 1975 and asked how we could help a child in Uganda. And that was the first time that Rotary, which is the backbone of Gift of Life, that's the first time Rotary had ever helped a child with heart disease. And so I got involved through Robbie. Many years we became very, very close friends. And then 2008, he asked me to head up Gift of Life on an international basis. They had never had a paid position before. So I left the solid waste industry. I was working in New York City. We were developing our business in Manhattan, the first ever privately held company to compete in that market. And then took on this challenge in 2008, and it's become my life for the last 12 years.
Wow, that's incredible. So what did this child need as far as the heart? What was the specific illness, or what was the specific surgery that he needed?
So Grace, had a congenital heart defect. So just for the viewers and for perhaps you yourself, congenital heart defect is the #1 birth defect in the world. Wow. 1 out of every 100 live births in this world, there's a child who's born with a congenital heart defect. So about 1.3 million children every year are born with this defect. And 93% of those children are born in a country that can do absolutely nothing to take care of them. So this is literally a global crisis that had been going on for decades. And if you're a mom or a dad, if you're a grandparent, aunt or an uncle, those children, you will literally just watch perish in front of your eyes. So it really is something that has dire consequences for a child who's born with a congenital heart defect, and it is absolutely devastating to the families just to have no way of helping their children. So Grace was born with an atrial septal defect. That's a hole in the heart, in the septum of the heart, the center of the heart, at the top, at the atrium, which in our country, by the time she was 6 months old, would have been taken care of. Well, in Uganda in 1975, she was 5 years old, and she was actually very fortunate. We have children who live, up until the mid-teens, and then they really perish at that time because they just never get the care for what really is not a complex surgery.
And how did they come to know about her need?
So the Rotary, and there may be many Rotarians out there listening to this, but Rotary has a magazine every month called The Rotarian. And in that article, in that magazine, there was an article about a girl in Kampala, Uganda, that was actually mauled by a hyena. It was not Grace at the time. So the Rotary Club in Manhasset wrote the Rotary Club in Kampala to say, how do we help this child? Well, in those days, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have Skype, we didn't have texting. They wrote a letter, and the letter came back a month later and said, that child has already been taken care of, but we have a child with this heart disease. Can you help? And at that time, St. Francis Hospital was opening up their cardiac center, and it was a great moment in Roslyn for them to get a chance to get some attention for the work they're doing. And there you go. They organized Grace coming, the Rotary Club of Manhasset with the Rotary Club in Kampala. And just to throw that out, now over 45 years, we now have 84 Gift of Life programs in 286 Rotary Clubs, in 60 districts, in 80 countries that take care of over 3,500 children a year. So that one act, that one reading of that article in the Rotarian magazine in 1975 has now grown into this global movement that helps over 3,500 children a year, and to date, over 37,000 children have been helped since 1975.
Wow. I have so many questions. So how did you make that happen? How did you get that globally? How? So
at the beginning, it was child by child coming to the U.S., being operated on U.S. hospitals for very small amount of money. And then as we grew and we realized the immensity of this problem, in the 90s, teams began to be sent out. And as we began to get a notoriety in Rotary through this global network of Rotary, Rotarians in different countries would say, we have a child with a heart disease. Can you help them? Oh, we have a hospital that wants to do surgeries. Can you send a team? And then when I started in 2008, we realized that you really had to go in and begin to empower people in their own country to care for their own children. And that really was the game changer for us, because then what we started to do was to develop training teams that would go in and work with the local teams. We'd evaluate the local needs, put together strategies for each country, and then implement those through the backing of Rotary Global Grants. The greatest tool in this world for any organization is what Rotarians have in the Rotary Foundation. There are literally hundreds of millions of dollars available to go out and do good in this world. And so every year we access about $2 million in Rotary Global Grants, and we go into different countries with different strategies to develop programs that are commiserate to what their needs are.
It's gotta be such a gift. That's an awesome name, Gift of Life, because
Right.
It is a gift of life. Has that always been the name?
So they, that was come up with Rotarians back in Manhasset back in '75. They came up with that fairly quickly, and it has just stayed with it. And you listen to parents, and these are parents that pray for their children every day for a miracle, and they truly believe it is a gift. It is a gift to them and their family that this child has been helped. But we like to, we are now in a different phase with Gift of Life, because we feel that every child and every parent deserves the dignity of care. So that no matter what country they live in, they should not be begging for care or praying for care. Clearly, they're going to be praying for care, but they deserve that care. And one thing that is really stark for me, I've been to 26 countries while I've had this position since 2008, 26 emerging countries. Not one country has a government policy at the national level to deal with cardiac care. So not one country that I've been to, when you go in and meet with the Ministry of Health, do they tell you we have this plan to take care of these children. So you literally have to go in there and to motivate and to inspire and to give them the sort of the floor plan on how to approach it. And so, that's how we feel we are making our greatest impact. Number one, by bringing awareness to this world of the great crisis. Number two, giving practical ways of implementing ways to address it in different countries. The needs in El Salvador are different than Uganda and different than Haiti. So you must be able to deal with both culturally and what they have the ability to do economically. So by putting it together, these strategies, we were able to implement and maximize care for children in 80 countries. If a parent in 80 countries has a child with a heart disease, they can approach us and they can have some hope that their child will be taken care of.
I can't even imagine, because I had 2 children, but now I'm a grandma. So, and at this age, you cherish, you literally, so to even think about something happening to someone that I love, even anyone, but someone close to me, I can't even imagine how those families feel when they're going through it. And then to have the Gift of Life support them and make the surgeries possible, it really is a blessing. It really is a true blessing.
The greatest impact you see is when a parent will bring their child for care, and you'll see the burden that is on that parent's shoulders. I mean, they've been living with their child, maybe not even thinking someday they would get the care. And then to see them after that surgery, and their child, and children are so amazingly resilient. A day or two after surgery, they're up and they're walking around. And for the parent, this is absolutely a miracle. And I always say to people, if you don't believe in miracles, go to Haiti with us. When you see a parent bring their child in from very difficult circumstances into the hospital where we work and have one of the most difficult, complex surgeries take place, and allow for that child to then walk out absolutely with a new life, with a new start on life. So it really is a beautiful thing to see that impact.
Because the surgery is routine. Is the surgery pretty routine nowadays?
When you say routine, you'll hear people say complex or less complex. When you do a surgery, you're still stopping a child's heart for a minimum of an hour. Okay, so to me, nothing is really routine.
Yes, wrong.
So much can go wrong. So,
I apologize. Wrong terminology, right. But it's
the terminology. That's what people say.
But it's something that has been done over and over. I understand, stopping any child's heart. I can't even imagine. Don't even want to think about it. And that's probably the problem, is most of us don't want to put ourselves in that place to think about it. But we really should all stop and look at our children and look at our families and really put ourselves in that place. That, could you imagine, what if? And then, like I'm sorry, Rob, like you said, you go to another country that they don't know how to handle this. They have no structure to it. It must make it so much harder.
Well, and it doesn't. That's exactly the crux of the issue here. In our country, if a child has a congenital heart defect and needs surgery for that defect, within 6 months of birth, they will have that surgery. Now, we're not talking about heart transplant. We're talking about a child born with a congenital heart defect. No matter what economic status, through insurance or through government support or whatever it is, that child gets treated within 6 months. In other countries, the same child will go into their mid-teens. Now, not only will the heart be affected, but the body is very resilient. They start accommodating for that defect, and what happens is the lungs get affected, and then it becomes irreversible, where a surgery on the heart would be impossible because of the damage that's been done to the lungs. So
Wow.
this really is something that we are so amazingly fortunate for so many reasons in our country. But this is one of them. In our country, these children are cared for. So it's not like we're neglecting the care of children in our country for others. Others are not getting this, and our children are getting this. So,
wow, it's so. I can't even imagine the bond that you form with each child that you're helping, and even those that you just know of you know, and know of the Rotary and know of the Gift of Life program. They must treasure, you know, what you're doing, you know. And the other, I mean, tell us, I mean, because I've never been to a third world country. I mean, tell us what it's like. I mean, you know, how is it when you first get off the plane, and do they have cars, and, you know, where do you stay, and how do you meet people, and what's like, I don't know. So share a little bit with me. Put me in that place.
So great question. So let me start with how we meet people. Through the network of Rotary is how we connect in every country we go to. By being a Rotarian and I am a Manhasset Rotarian now, but by being a Rotarian, if there's a country you go to, you connect with a local Rotary club. And when you get there, you're welcomed by them. They help you to do the logistics in terms of, you know, what hospital to go and work with, what hotels to stay at, where to go, where not to go, transportation issues. So no matter what country we go to, we have that basis of support through Rotary. That's number one. Number two, you know, countries are very different. Every country we go to, there's transportation, there are hotels, there are cities, there's commerce, but there's different levels of that. You know, when we go to El Salvador is the second most dangerous country in this world because of gang violence. But in San Salvador, you would really not know that. They live a middle-class life. That's a regular life that I would consider a regular life. However, the hospital we work at, Hospital Bloom, is a hospital that has challenges. It's the only children's hospital in a country of 6 million people. So every child that gets seriously sick goes to that hospital. So there's a lot of pressure put on the healthcare systems in all of these countries that require them to care for every type of disease. So to specialize is very challenging. So the concept of going to a country, the evaluation of what is possible there is important. And then the quick development of a strategy and approach is important, because you should only do what's possible in that country. Otherwise, you may spin your wheels and you may not be able to make the impact you'd like to make. But every country we go to is welcoming, is happy we're there, and they understand from the basic level that these children are not going to be cared for unless we do something dramatic. And we, you know, we like to do things that are dramatic. Like I said, in Haiti, this is a country of 10 million people. I think it's 80 or 90% unemployment in that country. It's really very difficult. But in that country, we work at a Catholic hospital that allows us to operate now on over 300 children in Haiti. And that only gets done because of volunteers, because of healthcare providers in country, and then our visiting teams. So there's a lot of different aspects that go together, but it really all starts with the network of Rotary opening the doors that allows for us to deliver this care.
Wow, wow. Judy, as always. Judy, how long have you been a part of Rotary?
I started in Rotary in 2005. In 2008, I was president of the Comac Kings Park Rotary Club, and after my presidency, I became an assistant district governor and was responsible for 5 clubs where I would attend and give talks and assist them with various projects that we were working on. Gift of Life, it would be local, national, and international projects that we worked on. And our motto is service above self.
Wow. You know, what I love about what you're bringing to us, Rob, is that people are people. It doesn't matter what color, it doesn't matter what size, it doesn't matter what faith. We're all people. We all love each other. We all should love each other. We all should be compassionate to each other. And to hear someone that has experienced life bigger than in the United States, it's pretty amazing that that we're all people. We're all people, even though the governments are at war, or to me, we're all people. And when you get off the plane and you meet somebody there, they're a person. It doesn't matter whether it's in Russia or wherever it is. They're people, So that's such a blessing for you to share that with us.
If I could just spend a second, because that is actually a very beautiful part of this work, and I want to talk about how you're absolutely right about that. In Jordan, in Amman, Jordan, our program operates on Jordanian children, but also we bring in children from many of the war-torn countries, from Yemen, from Syria, from Iraq, from Palestine. And there was one time we sent a team from Indianapolis, Raleigh Children's Hospital, and I walked into the ICU, and there were 4 children, and one was from Yemen, one was from Jordan, one was from Syria, and one was from Iraq. The Syrian father, the father who was there with the Syrian child, came from a refugee camp that was in Jordan. This father had crawled out of Aleppo when Aleppo was being destroyed in Syria with his child on his back to look for help for his child. He crawled for miles. He didn't want to get up. He was afraid. The only light there was from the bombs literally being lit in Aleppo. He found his way to a refugee camp, who then, when we sent our doctors to the camp to screen, had this child screened, and ended up in a hospital in Amman, Jordan. And when I walked into that hospital, the father came up to me and in Arabic said, "In a million years, I never would have thought the people that were going to deliver care to my child would be American."
Wow.
Wow.
But not for any reason of not liking us, or just the perception was that, And what this work also does exactly what you said. You start off with a child at 5 years old. That child knows nothing about color, about race, about religion, about anything. That child just wants to live a happy, healthy life. And I think the more that all of us can do that in our lives, whether it's Gift of Life, whether it's any other work, it really is investing in kids. Because if you don't invest in the children, there is no future. And that simple act of kindness on our part perhaps gave that father a different perspective that he will go back and tell others. And I think this happens.
Definitely.
And when we act with our hearts, when we lead with our hearts, there can be no wrong. Anything that follows that, there will be some good to it. And that, to me, has been the strength of Gift of Life for 45 years. Hundreds of people have led with their hearts, and by leading with their hearts are creating a next generation that has hope.
Yeah. Judy, you wanted to say something?
No, just that I just wanted to apologize for not mentioning Robbie Dono in the beginning. I didn't realize that he was, I guess I realized, but I forgot. I had forgotten that Robbie Dono was the one who started it, and then you all took it from there. But it is very impressive to go to a country and to be able to do this, and people all over the world recognize how wonderful Rotary is.
It is. It's a wonderful organization. It's very humanitarian, when it's work.
I just also want to say that I got into Rotary because my dad had been a Rotarian for 47 years. And I went to a lot of Rotary meetings from the age of 14 with my family and took part in various fundraisers as I got older. And I really feel deeply about Rotary. And when my dad had a stroke, the Baldwin Rotary Club came to visit him in the nursing home. And some members of the Baldwin Rotary came weekly. And he was in the hospital. He was in nursing home for 3 years and 3 months, and they were there weekly to show support. And I really appreciate it, and I'll never forget it.
Yeah. So, we're in a really humbling time, aren't we, Rob?
Yeah.
Where we're kind of like set in our space, you know, we're like a reset, you know, like, and this is around the world. So how is this impacting those children? This COVID. I mean, is it happening in Jordan? Is it happening in El Salvador? I mean, what's going on in those countries with this disease, this virus we have?
So I'm glad you asked that question. We have 84 programs around the world. And in some of our countries, we are able to do surgeries. In El Salvador, they're doing emergency surgeries 5 times a week. In Lebanon, we're doing surgeries. In Pakistan and in India and in Egypt. So the countries that are able to do it, we're doing it. But in those countries that we're not, the countries that we were supposed to be in, I should be in today, I should be in Monterrey, Mexico for our visit there. We had 30 visits scheduled this year. And so what we're going to do is we've postponed all visits from March, the end of March through the end of August. So we're going to make up all those. Eventually, the children that we had committed to caring for on these visits will be cared for. But in this time, it's a challenge. Every day I'm on a Skype or a Zoom call with one of our training teams to ensure that those doctors and nurses can go and travel to do the work they were going to do with us. We continue to raise money in a very difficult environment so that we can continue to support our efforts and our work around the world. And we work very hard to reach out to the parents who really are praying for us to show up and let them know that we will be there someday. We will be there. It won't be today, but it will be someday. So every day we're working to keep this network alive. It's a network of thousands of volunteers, Rotarians, healthcare professionals, like-minded organizations. And so even though it's a very difficult time, and I pray that everybody out there, they are well and they are safe, and they are, we will soon return to being able to do what we all do here. There is a crisis out there that doesn't go away, and that's the crisis that we spoke about earlier. So just if I can get a quick plug in for our Facebook campaign, it's called #GOL It's on our Facebook page. So I would encourage anybody to go to our Facebook page. And this week, we are highlighting Touching Lives, Theirs and Ours. We have stories from Gift of Life International board members. Our founder, Robbie Donna, will be speaking. Our vice president, Fred Lee Kaplan. Our president, Lou Riccio. These are all very long-time Gift of Lifers. And then we have children who have experienced the Gift of Life. Brett Halverson, who's Korean, who now is back home in Korea. He will be on with his son. And we will have the leaders of our Lebanese program, our Jordanian program, our Salvadoran program. So it's #GiftOfLifeStrong. It's on our Facebook page. We will have live interviews throughout the day on Giving Tuesday, which is Tuesday. But all throughout this week and the next 2 weeks, you can tune in and see a different story and a different aspect of the work we do around the world. And again, it's trying to keep this organization vibrant and the awareness at a high level.
And Rob, if they want to donate, how do they donate?
About Jonathan, is he going to become a ambassador for Gift of Life?
I'm sorry?
The young man that I met in 2008.
So Jonathan Alongu, who was the man you met in 2008, was our 10,000th child. Just so you know, right. Now, 12 years later, we are celebrating our 37,000th child. So we've really escalated how many kids we help. Jonathan is home now. When I was talking before, he was about 4'2" when he was here. He's now about 6'5". He's this big, really good-looking kid who's going to college, going to university there in Kampala, and is the sweetest, nicest child you could meet. And I find out with a lot of our kids, they really grow up and want to make something out of their lives because they realize they were really given a second chance at this life, and they want to make something out of it. So it's really a great story.
I know about second chances in life. That's why.
Hello.
So, Rob, I'm going to let you share where they can donate.
You asked about the donate part.
Yes.
That's always important.
Yes.
You can go to our website, giftoflifeinternational.org, and there are many red buttons that say donate on it. Click the donate, and they'll walk you through the whole way to do it online. It's the easiest and the best way to do it.
Yes, and I highly recommend that everybody, even if you can't be a lifelong donator, you can always donate one time because anything you can help is gracious. Some of us don't have it. Yes. The truth is that I believe that if they don't have it to give Rob right now, they share this video. That's a way they can help. They share your information because they're watching, and they'll get it to somebody that can donate much more. So it really is an important thing. What was I going to say? I was going to say, our world is stroke and aphasia. Although children is the high, that's why we have you on the show. It's really, how could you not interview someone that's doing such gracious work for children? But if you do, if you hear of anybody, because we are partners with the American Stroke Association, so, you have our information. If you know of anybody that needs support with strokes or aphasia, just pass along our information, because we'd be more than happy to dive right in and help them. I don't know how we'd help them, but, it's not about knowing sometimes. Sometimes it's about just getting in and supporting them, and working with the American Stroke Association to bring hope and help to everybody.
Absolutely. My father had a stroke and passed soon after it, and I know what that is like, and so I absolutely think your organization, your efforts are amazing, and they're very well appreciated, and I really do believe it's true. Any way that we can help others, it's great to help others, but we also help ourselves in doing so. We always feel good by doing it, and it's really what we should do. So
yeah, it's it's like, I hope I don't want to say this in the wrong way, but I pray that at this time that we just take a step back and really look at the bigger picture in life, like, that we're kind of like set in our place, and we take the bigger picture at life and really do something for other people. I was watching, I forget what I was listening to the other day, and that really is a cure for sadness. When you just do for others. Even if it's calling someone that you haven't spoke to in a while, just to connect with them, to make them feel loved. It'll make you feel loved. Or if you can go grocery shopping for an elderly person, leave it on their doorstep. It really is an important time to do for others right now. And it's important. It's important. I hope that everybody understands that. And my prayer is that we don't go back to the way we were, that we begin a new path of more loving and caring and really compassionate towards everyone, especially around the world. This brought us together, the whole world. It brought us together. We're not America anymore. It's not Italy. It's not China. We're all in this together, and we all have to pray for healing. So it's really, really an important piece.
Very, very, very true statement. Very true what you said.
So, Judy, do you have any questions for Rob?
No, but I'm really honored that you accepted our invitation to come on, and if you're ever available to attend one of our telethons, that would be wonderful, and I just want to keep our connection alive. And tell Robbie when you talk with him that I said hi.
Your telethon was supposed to be today, Rob.
Oh, okay.
So you got a big spot. You got a prime spot. We're supposed to do a telethon.
It's been an honor to be on the show, and I appreciate any amount of attention to a cause is important, and I really appreciate you taking the time to give us this. And you asked wonderful questions. I really appreciate them. So thank you for that.
And I want you to know that I am sending this show to many, many groups, heart groups, Rotarians, everyone that I can think of, to keep it going so that everybody knows the wonderful work that you're doing with Gift of Life and the wonderful work that Rotary does worldwide.
They do. And, it's pretty impressive what Rotary does. How old is the organization, Rotary?
1905. It started with Paul Harris. And it's
Wow.
called Rotary because a small group of people would meet in various, and they would rotate, business people would rotate in each other's business to have a meeting. And that's how the name Rotary came about.
But it's around the world. How did it get around the world? I'm just curious. Like, how did it become nationwide or worldwide?
Rob, you want to answer that?
Yeah, I mean, it's really very curious. It's another great question. It really did grow very organically, and the first Rotary Club was in Chicago, and then it grew out to the West Coast, San Francisco and Oklahoma, and Oakland, and then Seattle was number 4, New York City was number 6, but then it got to Asia, and it got to Europe, and there's 1.2 million Rotarians in the world. I think in our district on Long Island, it's 1,600 Rotarians. And obviously Polio Plus is the major program in Rotary, which is eradicating polio around this world. Before this pandemic, I think only 2 countries had polio that was not really eradicated. So Rotary does a lot of amazing work with water projects, with literacy programs, and just really amazing stuff internationally and locally. And so whether it's a food bank on Long Island or a homeless shelter, or again, the dictionaries for 3rd graders, which is another great program that they have, they really fill the needs, and Rotarians put service above self every day to make sure that others get those, get what they need so that they can live a happier, healthier life.
And I just want to add that Paul Percy Harris, the originator, founder of Rotary, born April 19th, 1868, we're celebrating his birthday.
What are we celebrating, Judy? I didn't hear that.
We're celebrating Paul Percy Harris, the founder of Rotary. His birthday was April 19th, 1868. He was the founder of Rotary.
Wow. That's awesome.
Happy birthday, Paul Harris.
Yes. Rob, we really want to thank you.
Thank you.
I hope to meet you in person one day when you're not traveling. I would love to meet you in Long Island one day.
That'll be great.
And I really want to give you this last-minute clip to share your Facebook, page again, where they can donate. Really do a plug. Do some promotion for this wonderful, important cause.
Well, so first of all, thank you for your time, and we really do appreciate that. As I said, Gift of Life for over 45 years has been delivering care to children with heart disease from the emerging world, children who otherwise would not be receiving this care. And so if you'd like to learn more about us, you can go to our website, which is giftoflifeinternational.org. If you'd like to just read about stories about individual kids or programs in different countries, or if you'd like to make a donation, that's the place to go. And then, as I said earlier, our Facebook page is Gift of Life International. We have a campaign the next 3 weeks called GOL Strong, where we're highlighting how this work touches our lives as well as the lives of children. We have interviews with Rotarians, healthcare providers, Gift of Lifers, beneficiaries. So for the next 3 weeks, we have that. So you can learn a lot about our organization through our website and through our Facebook page. And, I always say this, is that when we lead with our hearts, others will benefit. And for over 4 decades, Rotarians, through Gift of Life, have led with their hearts and healed over 37,000 hearts. So thank you.
Yay! So, Jim, I'm going to fly on out. But I really want to thank everybody for tuning in today. And I really... it's supposed to be our telethon, and you're supposed to be donating to our foundation today, but we're going to take the out-of-bound leap and work from the heart and say today, our telethon is going to be October 4th, right, Judy? October 4th?
Yeah.
At 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the Village Connection Facebook network, and then we'll post it around. But please donate to the Gift of Life today. Even if it's $5, right. $10, $5, $10, whatever you could donate. Or if you can't, like we always say, Donations come in all forms. If you can share this page, or if you know somebody else, or if you can keep the Rotary and the Gift of Life in your prayers, that would be awesome, because they're doing incredible work. And let's pray for those children that this had to stop. You know, maybe it's protecting them. Who knows? You know, we have to have hope that it's protecting their lives. You know, this is something that's bigger than us. We can't, you know, it's out of our control. So sometimes you have to give it up to God, and you have to just have faith, whatever faith that is. So we're going to blow our kisses. Rob, we always blow kisses. I don't know if you like to blow kisses, but
kiss.
What's that?
That's great.
Well, that's all we could do on the internet. So, so on 3, we're going to blow kisses, and then Jim is going to stroll out. Jim, Judy, do you want to say anything before we roll out?
I just want to thank Rob again for being our honored guest, and let's keep our connection strong.
Yes, and any way we can help you, Rob, honestly, we're there. We're in. So, okay. You're welcome. Thank you. Again, thank you for being a guest today. And thank you, Judy, for connecting us and for sharing about the Rotary. It just, I'm speechless sometimes about stuff that's so really deep. It's pretty deep stuff. And I just want everybody at this particular moment to really put themselves in that place about having a child that has a hole in their heart. Can't even imagine it. And even if it's a grandchild or a loved one or a friend, but could put yourself in those parents' place. So Rob and the Gift of Life, they're really repairing those. They're repairing hearts. And there's nothing more to say. So please go to the website and donate, because it really will make a difference. It really will make a difference. So we're going to blow our kisses on that. Ready, Rob? 1, 2, 3. Bye, everybody. See you next week. See you in 2 weeks. Bye, Rob. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Que haré, yo no sé lo que estoy perdiendo.